What if the place that once stood for the magic of childhood closed its doors? For years, Toys R Us was a destination rather than just a store, an adult's lighthouse of remembrance and a wonderland for children. But the venerable toy business went bankrupt in 2017, shocking generations of people who grew up singing, "I don't want to grow up, I'm a Toys R Us kid." How then did a corporation that controlled the toy market for more than 60 years lose its direction? Let's start to tell the tale. We must go back to 1948, when Charles Lazarus started a baby furniture store in Washington, D.C. to grasp the evolution of Toys R Us. Customers were returning for toys, not only cribs and strollers, he observed. Seeing the potential, Lazarus turned his shop into a committed toy retailer, and by 1957, Toys R Us had opened its first location. Toys R Us distinguished itself with its inventive retail strategy. It was the first of its kind, a toy-oriented grocery. One-of-a-kind shopping experience unlike anything else was produced by rows of dolls, action figures, board games and motorcycles. Parents appreciated the ease. Children were enthralled with the sheer enormity. Toys R Us had grown to be a worldwide empire by the 1980s, with outlets almost wherever a large city. Thanks in part for its appealing jingle and adorable mascot, Geoffrey the Giraffe, it was a cultural hit. Toys R Us was drawing in billions of dollars annually at its height. Unquestionably, the king of toys rivals couldn't get close. As they say though, what goes up must come down. Late in the 1990s, fractures were starting to show. Retail was evolving and Toys R Us battled to fit. The emergence of large box retailers like Walmart and Target presented one of the toughest obstacles. These behemoths offered toys with groceries, clothes and gadgets, therefore undermining Toys R Us on cost. When you could have everything in one place, why would you make an extra trip? The approach of Toys R Us, a specialized retailer, seemed less enticing. After that arrived the internet. Early in the 2000s, e-commerce developed quickly under Amazon's direction. Toys R Us trailed behind while Amazon was transforming consumer behavior. Actually, the corporation made a crucial error in 2000 when it teamed with Amazon to manage its online sales, therefore giving almost complete control of the e-commerce market. Toys R Us discovered it years behind in developing its own web presence when the alliance broke apart. But in 2005, the actual nail in the coffin arrived. Toys R Us went private in a leveraged buyout run by several private equity companies that year. The $6.6 billion agreement left the business buried in debt. Dealing with this debt sapped funds meant for modernization of stores, enhancement of the internet, or rivalry-based competitiveness. Rather, Toys R Us was mired in debt trying to pay off billions while rivals shot ahead. The shopping scene changed as the years passed. Children's tastes changed to include tablets, video games, and electronics. Markets Toys R Us battled to keep in front. Parents, meantime, switched to internet buying for greater pricing and convenience. Once spectacular stores of the corporation started to seem old and uninspired. Restructuring and rebranding initiatives came too late, too little. Its debt and dwindling sales were too much by 2017 to handle. Declared bankrupt, Toys R Us cited around $5 billion in debt. Customers all around responded with dismay and incredulity at the announcement. Soon after, stores closed and the sight of empty Toys R Us buildings became a sobering reminder of how rapidly an empire may collapse. The narrative does not stop there, though. Attempts to bring the brand back in recent years abound. Geoffrey the Giraffe returned, and under new ownership, a few pop-up stores have emerged. But for those who grew up strolling its aisles, the Toys R Us of today are a shadow of their former self, a sentimental recollection. What therefore may we gain from Toys R Us fall? First of all, the need of changing with time. Keeping ahead of the curve is crucial, whether it comes to consumer behavior changes or the emergence of e-commerce. Second, the perils of too great debt. Trapped, paying for its past, Toys R Us couldn't make investments in its future. At last, the force of nostalgia has only limited reach. A loved brand must change to be relevant. It cannot thrive on sentiment alone. The narrative of Toys R Us is instructive as well as sad. It reminds us of a simpler time when a trip to the toy store would define a child's day. It is also a warning story for companies negotiating a constantly shifting environment, though. Ultimately, failing to keep up even giants can cause them to tumble. Having said that, appreciatively for viewing until next time.